Hello, my name is Marino-Williams and I am a student at Franciscan University. This screencast is being completed for my EDU 541 School and Society course. Proposition number 3. Teachers are responsible for managing and monitoring student learning. Trend 7. The percentage of American children living in families with incomes below the poverty line has increased continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. Field-based activity number 4. Examine Maslow's hierarchy of needs and explain how his concepts impact a student's ability to learn, as well as support the need for teachers to pay particular attention to these factors. In the article, Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs by Saul McLeod, one must satisfy lower-level basic needs before progressing on to meet higher-level growth needs. Once these needs have been reasonably satisfied, one may be able to reach the highest level, called self-actualization. The first level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the physiological needs of food, water, shelter, and clothing. The needs are required for human survival, and without them the human body cannot function properly. The second level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is safety. The need to feel safe is more likely to be found in children. In order to have a sense of safety, we need personal security, financial security, health and well-being, and a safety net against accidents, illnesses, and their adverse impacts. The third level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is to be loved and to belong. Everyone needs to be loved and to love, and by maintaining or gaining a sense of belonging and acceptance among social groups will allow students to have the feeling of belonging and being loved. The fourth level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is esteem. It is important to maintain respect for oneself and for others to build up confidence, self-esteem, and achievement. The final and highest level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the need for self-actualization. Realizing one's own potential will allow better problem-solving skills, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts, and much more. On this final level, students have the ability and are fully capable to learn. The article How to Apply Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs to Education by Jody Hanson discusses that applying the 5 different levels of the hierarchy of needs allows educators to assess lesson plans, courses, and educational programs. By making sure all 5 needs are being met, teachers can assess how well they are applying Maslow's hierarchy to their teaching practice. It's important to begin with students' physiological needs, such as food, clothing, water, and shelter, because it is impossible to advance to higher needs if students are hungry, don't have warm enough clothes, or have to sleep on the street. Some schools offer free lunches and breakfasts to support students who can't afford it. As educators, it is important to create a safe learning environment for all students. It is difficult for students to learn when they are worried about something else. Making them feel safe and comfortable in the classroom will ensure better learning. In order for students to reach the next level, they need to feel a sense of belonging. Providing games and teamwork activities will allow students to interact and feel more involved. It's important to promote self-esteem by providing positive feedback when they are working hard and applying themselves. This will show students that they are valued. A way to help build self-actualization is allowing students to show and/or use their strengths to help others, such as peer tutoring. This will allow students to see what they have learned and give them the chance to apply what they have learned in a real situation. My second article, Abraham Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs and the Classroom by Jacob Horn, states that teachers can take Maslow's hierarchy of needs and use it in many different ways. During the first level of the hierarchy, it is important that teachers maintain a clean classroom. The home life of our students must also be considered. If a student is not getting the required sleep and food they need at home, it will be difficult or impossible for them to move to the next level. Safety has become an extremely important factor with schools. It is hard enough for some students to stay focused in school, but when they don't feel safe, it makes it much harder. The same can be applied with their home life. If students do not feel secure about family life, they can be difficult to reach and difficult to help learn. Teachers need to ensure that all students feel that they belong. When students are in arguments with friends or do not feel that they fit in, they will have a hard time focusing on their learning. It's important to educators that students use their creativity and problem-solving skills. It is essential that teachers guide students through the previous levels at the appropriate times to help them attain all the skills. According to the article, Poverty in Education, Maslow's hierarchy of needs in education takes a backseat in meeting the basic survival needs of food, shelter, and safety. Students of a low socioeconomic income are affected at the time they are conceived. These students have minimal or no health benefits and suffer from disease and illnesses. There is a lack of resources to reinforce a child's education. Vacations, educational field trips, and other activities are limited and don't prepare or reinforce what they have already learned. Families of low socioeconomic status have lower expectations for student learning and education. Socioeconomic status can cause numerous behavioral problems. Students who are falling behind in school end up getting frustrated, leading them to skip school, which means they are now facing truancy and involvement in inappropriate behaviors such as alcohol and drug abuse. Teachers have a lack of training for determining and helping students of low socioeconomic statuses and focus more on the behavioral problems and slowing down the curriculum for socioeconomic status students to fall further behind. What teachers need to do is find ways to help these students learn. As teachers, we will influence and change lives, so we need to offer the 5 levels of Maslow's hierarchy in our classrooms. When speaking to my field educator, Jennifer Baer, in regards to teaching students of poverty and implementing Maslow's hierarchy of needs, she was able to provide some personal experience with students in her classroom. Jennifer once taught in schools where numerous students came from a low socioeconomic status. At first, Jen didn't realize what the issue was, but she knew she had to dig deeper. To make a long story short, she was able to get the guidance counselor involved and speak to students' father and find out that they were homeless. Jen stated that it is extremely important that teachers communicate with parents on a bi-weekly basis, especially when families are homeless. This allows you to understand the student's inflation in behavioral problems, where the student is currently residing, health concerns that may have come about, and more. Jen also realized that more trainings needed to be provided by the school to help enhance student learning who came from low socioeconomic status. By incorporating the 5 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, allows all students to maintain a successful education. This helps families of low socioeconomic status because if their student graduates high school with a diploma, there is more hope for that family. As an educator, Jen stated it is important that she stay in touch with the families, maintain a comfortable learning environment, and always encourage her students. My goals include, but are not limited to, communicating with parents and/or families of students of poverty, volunteering, and meet the needs of children living in poverty. I feel that it is important to maintain communication with all families to monitor progress and become aware of new changes in the household or family situations. Parents of poverty are not able to be as involved with their students' education, whether they want to be or not. I will allow students extended time, with expiration dates, to complete assignments so that parents do not have the opportunity to can review and see what students are learning. To create an atmosphere of awareness, I will have many fundraisers in my class and engage students in activities to help provide them with a better understanding. I will also take time outside of work to help raise awareness and host fundraisers. I will be sure to do all of this while maintaining my students' situation as confidential. It is extremely important to me to ensure that my students gain a successful education, and to do so, I will meet the needs of each student in my class by providing different delivery methods and activities through the multiple intelligences. I want my students to feel comfortable and confident with me, but I understand that it is not always easy for students to discuss certain situations with certain people. I will have a private box in my room, which will allow access for all students to write what's wrong on a piece of paper. I will hand that box to the guidance counselor at a certain time during the day for her to review and pull out those kids she feels she should talk to. Thank you for watching my screencast. I hope you enjoyed it. The sources I used for this project came from the following sites: